Hey guys, welcome to episode number 14 of The Fix. This episode we're going to take a look at a photo called Purple Skies over Rippon Winery. Here's the photo here. So this is Lake Wanaka, New Zealand. The town of Wanaka is just around the corner to the right. And we've got, a whole bunch of mountains in the background. Ruby Island out here. These are actually islands over here as well, so it's a really cool spot. And then this in the foreground is Rippon Winery. So I'm standing up on a little bit of a hill, looking over the vineyard, which runs down all the way to the shore of the lake. And I went here one morning to catch the sunrise, and it was really, really gorgeous. And I got pretty lucky, and there's a bit of kind of purple in the sky. So that's what we're going to look at doing today, is bringing out that purple and making the photo pop a little bit. So here's the finished photo. So you can see there's the purple, all the lines from the vineyard leading kind of your eye into the edge of the frame, or into the middle of the frame, and you've got Ruby Island out here, and then all the cool mountains in the background. So this is what we're going to aim for. We're going to look at editing something like this, and this is what we're going to start with. One thing that you'll probably notice, where I was standing up on the hill, these power lines here got right in the way of the bottom section of the photo. I don't want to just crop them out, because that's a cool part of the photo, I think. So I'm going to show you what I did to get rid of those lines. I did it in Photoshop, so that'll be part of the process today. So here's again the goal that we're aiming for, and this is what we're going to start with. So let's head over into the develop module and get the party started. And just like usual, I start at the top, kind of work my way down. I'm going to do a little bit of a crop before I do anything else. So we've got lots of cool sky to work with, but we don't need that much. So I kind of like that long, narrow look. So I'm just going to bring both of these in just a little bit. And then starting here, lots of the work that we're going to do, that look that we're aiming for, actually comes from the temperature and tint. So this one, I'm probably going to actually cool it down, because the blue and the purple that ends up being a really nice contrast. The yellow and the purple not so much, so I like to kind of cool it down. Sorry, that's not the right slider. This one, cool it down, maybe something like this. And then this, let's see, so just in doing that, if I hit Y, that's showing me the wrong one. But just by making this adjustment here, we're already actually seeing quite a bit of that purple. And then let's go maybe something like that. So just a little bit more towards the purple on the tint, and cooling it down with the temperature. So that'll be a good start. You can see we've already got kind of that look that we're going for started. And then we'll brighten it up a little bit, bring down the contrast, bring those highlights down, bounce the shadows up. And then you can see it looks kind of faded, but I'm hoping once we play around with the whites and the blacks, we can kind of, bring that color back in, especially the blacks. That's going to help out a lot. And then just kind of a fine little tweak with everything else. Cool, and something like that is going to be a good start. I'm going to skip over the tone curve today. I'm not going to do much in the HSL as well. We'll just skip right over that. Split toning, I'm going to skip that as well today. And we'll head straight for the sharpening. And to do that, we'll zoom into a section here at 100%, which is right here. So I click 1 to 1, so that gives me 100%. And we'll do a bit of sharpening here. Might turn that radius up. I've got quite a few big thick lines in there. Lots of details to sharpen, so we'll move that up as well. And then we'll zoom back out, and we'll do our final masking, so we're not sharpening the water and the sky and that sort of thing. We'll just sharpen what we want to sharpen and mask everything else out. Cool, so something like that. I'm not too worried about it, but we'll do just a little bit of noise reduction as well. Remove some CA just for fun. And yeah, we'll do some profile correction as well. No transformations or anything there, and we'll just do a final little vignette. And that's pretty much it. So that's going to be our working photo now. And the only difference now, if I just kind of flip between the two, should be quite similar. One thing I just realized that I missed was adding a bit more vibrance. So let's just zip back to the top there. Vibrance, something like that. Maybe just a bit of clarity as well. Cool. And so now, if we compare the two photos, so the one on the right is what I've just done. You can see we've still got the power lines in here, and then flipping over to this one. So they look quite similar. And so that's a success. The only difference is really that power line. So let's click here. We'll go edit in, and we'll just edit in Adobe Photoshop. So I'm using CS6. If you're on Creative Cloud or something like that, then you've got a newer version. So that's probably better anyways. But we'll just slap it in here quick. And I'll show you what I would do to get rid of those power lines. So it's a little bit messy. There might be a cleaner, faster way to do it. I'm not totally sure. But unfortunately, we can't use something like content aware, and we can't use, anything like that would be nice and easy. Not sure why this isn't going full screen, but doesn't matter anyways. So what I'm going to do is just basically use the clone stamp. So if I, let's just zoom in here, I'm going to just work left to right. So all I do is hit Z to zoom in, hold down Option if I want to zoom out, and that's how I kind of control that. And then I either hold down spacebar to bring up the hand, or I actually hit H, and H brings up the hand, and then I can kind of move around. To do the stamping, it's this one right here. So hit S, that brings up the clone stamp, and you can see it end up with this little circle. I accidentally clicked, but what we're gonna do is use the square bracket keys to make that bigger and smaller. So maybe something like that to start, and then you hold down Option, you pick where you want to sample from, so maybe middle of that row there, and then follow the row down, and just kind of slowly stamp that out. And then middle of the row there, follow that down, and stamp that one out. And that's pretty much what I'm gonna do the whole way across. It seems like it's going to take forever, but once we get moving and do a bit of painting, it should actually go pretty quick. And so the idea here is that you kind of work in the lines of the lines of the vineyard, and just kind of work up and down that and use those lines as your reference. That one didn't work very good. And I spent a little bit more time doing the original one. I'll go a little bit quicker here just so that we can kind of get through it. And you can see how it's not perfect, but these rows aren't perfect anyways, and we're just kind of slowly taking apart those power lines and filling them in with the rows of the grapes. So you can see it's pretty much disappeared from here. We still have those nice rows, and then we just keep moving our way to the right. And keep them going. And because this is quite repetitive, what I'm going to do is just fast forward through this. I'm going to keep working away. This will fast forward through, and then I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, and we're back. So that's everything clone stamped out. So just really quick, it's quite easy to do with these parallel lines. The trick is to make it look as random as possible. Go slow, sample as close to what you want to eliminate as possible, just so that you can, get the dirt the same color and the branches the same color and whatever it is that you're doing. So try to do that to make it look as realistic as possible. Do it kind of random. Do little bits at a time. Don't try to sample one place and then keep going with that same brush stroke. So just do little clicks and dots at a time, and you end up with something like this. So because we know that power line was there, we can kind of see some places where maybe it doesn't look totally realistic. But if you never knew, then I think you'd definitely get away with this, and no one would ever notice. So with that, we'll actually we'll just move this back into Lightroom, and then we'll just do the final edit in Lightroom. So that's it with the power lines removed, and now we should be able to just zip back into Lightroom, and this should be it here. So there it is, the edit that we did with the power lines there, exact same photo with them removed. And we're back in Lightroom. Hit D and we'll zip back into the develop module. And I just want to do a final little, couple little local adjustments. So darken bottom, I might just put a little bit down there. Do a bit of brushing with my preset that I've got extra pop. Something like that. Density 74% sounds pretty good. We'll just slowly brush in a little bit through this area to kind of give it a little bit more contrast and detail and lighten it up a bit. Let's crank both of these up a little more. So it doesn't seem like it's doing much, but we'll just do, a little bit at a time is always a better way to work through a photo than try to do too much and then overdo it. So something like that, and we'll just, that's before, that's after. So just a subtle kind of extra punch to the photo. And so let's go into the full screen. So that's the photo. So purple skies over the Rippon Winery, episode 14 of the fix, and that's it. So just a quick summary. We did a, basic edit in Lightroom. Focused on the temperature and the tint, getting those right to bring out that purple in the sky from the nice sunrise. And then we moved into Photoshop to do some clone stamping to remove those power lines, and then took that back into Lightroom, did a final edit with local adjustments, and you end up with something like this. So quick and easy, not too bad of a photo, and just because you have some distractions like power lines or that sort of thing in your photo doesn't mean it can't be saved. And hopefully now you have some ideas on how you can do that. So that was just the clone stamp in Photoshop. So thanks again for joining me in episode 14, and we'll see you again in the next one. Thanks.